Don't sell yourself
Maybe?
short, Michi. There are plenty of people out there who would think you're a great candidate for a romantic partner. Yes, they all have mental health issues, and yes, they all are on your mod team, but they do exist.
Okay, bro. Bro, my mom still tries setting me up with her clients. My mom is trying to set me up with anybody at this point. If it breathes, it's fine, you know? But I told her, it's like, I can't, right? Either way, yeah. What the fuck was I talking about? I don't even remember. My mom, she's a sweet lady. She just jumps to a lot of conclusions. You know, and me and my brother being the only one in the family and also not really wanting to procreate, I don't think is giving her the best mental sanity. You know, she regretted the fact that, in her opinion, she scared me away from sex. She's like, I'm so sorry if I scared you away from sex. I don't think she did. I don't know. I don't remember. All I know is that I'm scared of it. But like, she was like, sex is beautiful. I'm sorry for all the times I told you that sex was disgusting. I was like, you know what my mom did? Probably. You know, when my mom, okay, this is a bit like TMI, but every time my mom would talk about like, when I'm like, oh, how are babies born?
Yes,
my
it
mom
is good to use
never
some
paints
things
it
that
nicely.
way, but some things you can't afford to break.
Yeah, I don't know the limits, you know? Like, my mom used to be like, you know, it's one of those things that if you're a guy, you're not losing anything. But if you're a girl, you're losing everything. It's not worth it. Having sex, that is only to benefit the man. As a woman, you get nothing out of it. Nothing but pain and heartache and brain ache. So don't have sex. Well, to be fair, I think she did kind of freak me out from having sex for a long, long time. But nowadays, I don't give a shit. Like, I can't, you know? Let's be so for real. If my mom wants a grandkid, I can't. You know, like, I can't take care of a child. You know how much a child needs? A kid needs a lot of attention, care, and you need to be super aware, and you have to take care of them physically, mentally, and emotionally, and anything you do or say would have a lasting impression on them. They're like very moldy, like moldable clay, you know? They're so like innocent. I'm not f***ing up another life. Like, I even told my mom this. I was like, listen, man, okay, I deadass up my life. I am not gonna f up another person's life, whether it be a lover or a child. So like, I can't, you know? A kid in this economy, that's what I'm saying, right? I said that, and my mom's like, Michi, you make enough. You can sustain a child in this economy. No! Have you seen, I work 10 hours a day on stream, and that is the one on stream. That's excluding all the off stream that I have to do. I literally spend every single day working. When I do have a break, I have a break until like 6 p.m. max, and then I go back to working. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. When I have days off, I am still working. You know, like, if you're working a 9 to 5, you go back at a specific time and you have 2 days off a week. I don't know. Sometimes I have a week off. Sometimes I don't have any weeks off. Sometimes I work every day, 7 days a week, for months straight. And the only time I would be like, okay, listen, I'm gonna have a break today. I always stop before 6. And then 6 p.m. rolls in, I'm back on working. Like, yeah, my days off, like my off days are off stream days. That doesn't mean I'm not working, right? Like, that's you. I have
just
to
do what my dad did. He sat me down, looked me in the eyes and said, cheer up, son. I'm just going to get milk.
Okay.
He inspired me that day. That was 20 years ago.
Jack Extra, I'm gonna punch you in the face. What the bro? Real? Okay, dude. Okay, man. Oh God. But yeah, like, I'm saying is I work too much. You know, I will be so honest with you, right? I know people are like, but Michi, you choose to work these hours. Not really. When your job is like streaming, right? Like, I see streaming as like something fun, but it is still a job also by the end of the day, because I need it to be able to financially work for me to continue to do this.
Most people are not ready to have a child, but learn how to parent as the child grows. But the first few years you will need to devote a lot of time.
That's the thing. That's what my aunt told me too, by the way. My aunt is like, sometimes you just have to have a child. Like, you will never be ready. If you're waiting for the day you're ready, you'll never have a child. So just have a child even if you're not ready. I honestly disagree, because you don't have to be 100,000% ready, but you have to at least be like 70%. Because listen, okay, as a kid, that came to be because they didn't plan it. Like, I was not a planned kid. Growing up was a little hell, right? And I don't want my kid to grow up like that. I want my kid to grow up knowing that, like, I want them to be around and I'm ready. Like, if they need something, I'm ready. I don't need them to boil in a fever and I'm like, bro, we don't have the finances to send you to a hospital. So, like, GG, good luck. And then they're sleeping there on the floor in a carpet, boiling in a high fever for like 2 weeks. I'm not doing that. Like, I need to prepare. You know, I need to have at least like the finances down. I need to have their like health down, like work down, everything. I need to make sure that they're set. Like, maybe emotionally, I'm not gonna always be ready, but that's fine. I need to prep. Oddly specific, bruh. What back then, when I said we were struggling, right? And then insurance, not good. Like, the insurance didn't really exist. So when I was a kid, I got sick so much, we couldn't do anything. Like, it's literally like GG skill diff, you know? So I was like, there's so many times I'm like, oh, I can't like go to school because I'm at home and I'm like on the ground. I'm like, and then it's like GG skill diff. Eat soup, feel better, 5-head. But thank God I did. You need to be ready, right? Like, you need to be at least 70% prepared to have a child. Don't have a child when you're not ready. Like, that is my opinion. I know some people disagree. That's completely fine. I've wanted a kid and I don't want my kid to grow up miserable, you know, especially during their early ages. Like, those are the things they're not even gonna remember. Like, chat, do you remember your childhood that much? Like, when you're like 5 years old, you know? Can you really remember everything? Not really. You only remember the feeling, right? Like, you don't remember like, oh, like throughout the day, this is what I did. You remember the fun stuff, like when you did something fun, or you remember the really bad stuff. You remember an emotion, not really like the details of everything. So it's important to have your kid feel good at this. Yeah, like, as you get older, you tend to like vaguely remember your past, right? So I want to have at least my kid to remember their past fondly with like happy core memories and not traumatizing core memories or bad core memories. There will be bad ones, but I want the good to trump over the bad, right? I want the kid to feel loved and like wanted. So because of that, I need to be ready. And I keep telling my mom this and she's like, actually, we had you when we weren't ready. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell, mother. I have a therapist now. But like, she did great. Like, I'm not, I say that as a joke, but she did amazing. Okay, with what we had, she did her best and it was great. But I don't want my kid to be like me. Bruh, I want a kid that I like. Are you insane?
Let's be
Hell
fair,
no.
Streaming and content creation is a job beyond just being lived. There's
Yeah.
also planning, talking to editors, managers if you have one, sponsors, writing scripts, and social media. It's a lot, and then there's trying to take care of yourself too. Plus, if you are successful, other people rely on you too.
Chat, here's the best way I can say it. I see streaming as a hobby. It's something that I really, really like and I enjoy my time. But in order for me to continue this lifestyle, I need to have money, right? So I need this
Content
also
jobs
financially
like
work.
streaming are really hard because they fluctuate so much.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why a lot of creators branch out into fashion and video games. Those things can give a return even if you aren't focused on them.
I was actually thinking about that. That's the thing. Like, in order for me to continue streaming as like something fun, I need the money, right? To make sure that I can continue to do this. So I need to like kind of balance things out. And balancing is not the easiest when it comes to this. Because like, you don't know. Like, when it comes to streaming, it's a trend thing. Sometimes you do amazing. Sometimes you do like absolutely sometimes you're stuck in doing forever. It's really hard. Because of that, I try my best. But there's a lot of that I'm planning. Sometimes my ambition gets the better of me.
I remember the day when I was coming back from school and finding my mom streaming and drooling over some hot vampire game character and saying some unhinged things to strangers online.
Okay, you're so... If I have a kid, chat, I will tell you I'm not streaming. Like, the moment I have a kid, I am going to drop streaming until that kid is like older. Because I am going to spend like 90% of my time and energy will be to the child. You know what I mean? Because when I say this, I actually mean it. I do want to have a kid. Like, I want to become a mother one day. Because I actually want... I don't know. I call it motherly instincts or whatever the fuck. But because of that, I want to be super ready. right? Like, I want to be really, really ready because I know how important it is. And nowadays, something that really pisses me off sometimes is when people, like, especially couples who have a child, right? It's not like pissed as in I'm mad. It's just like, oh God, you know? Like, you know when couples, they fight. It's fine. Couples fight all the time. But once you have a kid, you have to, like, being fake is something you need to do. And I know that sucks. I always say, like, chat, prioritize yourself. You are number one. This applies if you don't have a child. If you have a child, no, you have to fake it, right? You don't have, like, explosive arguments in front of a child. You know what I mean? That's not that's not what I would do. You know, like, you shouldn't have any, like, explosive arguments in front of a kid. Don't say really bad shit in front of your kid, especially anything above that. No, right? You just can't do stuff like that. And you know, you don't want to traumatize this kid. It's a kid. I would never fight in front of someone else's kid. So if, let's say, like, that's not even my child. There's a child and I'm arguing with someone and I see that the kid is there, I'm gonna, like, everything's fine. I'll be like, it's okay. Hey, what's wrong? You have to fake it. Kids shouldn't see this shit. The whole point, right? This is how I see it. You as a guardian, like, people keep forgetting because people think parents equal I conceive, I give birth, and that's the extent of it. But that's not true. Thank you, TU, for the 5 giftaroonies. Thank you so much. You are not just a parent. You are a guardian. You know, you're supposed to, like the word says, guard the child. Like, kids, when they are born up until they're 12, they are so easily influenced, right? They don't know what's right and wrong. They only know, like, they are still selfish. They're learning how to empathize. They're learning what selflessness is. They're learning what sharing means and why sharing is good. And they're learning the good and bads of love, different types of attention. And I will say this, and people forget because it's kind of like a darker topic, but nowadays it is so important to say this out loud. They need to know how to create boundaries, right? Because you know how many freaks are out there in this world? Like, if I have a kid, my kid will definitely know. It's like the no touch. I will tell them. Like, I'm gonna tell them. I'll be like, listen, this is your no square, buddy. If anyone does anything, says anything, right? No. That is a freak. There are freaks out there. Back then, parents are scared that their kids are going to be attacked by a tiger. Nowadays, it's not just a tiger. There are scarier things than a tiger. So, like, sadly, it's probably other humans. So my kid needs to know how to trust, but not over trust. You know? You gotta, like, teach so many things to this child. And this child is gonna up. They're gonna up and they're gonna regret their decisions. They're gonna do something that they're gonna be like, oh, I hate that. And you know what you have to do? You have to make sure that kid knows that you are its home and they can come back to you. No matter what, even though they up really badly, you are there for them and they're not alone. And you know how hard it is to do that? It's so hard. It's complicated. So don't add on more
Okay, but get this.
Kids are hard.
Kids these days want to grow up as content creators.
Oh!
If we don't give them just a bit of trauma, how will they ever realize their dreams?
What did
That's
you
why
okay.
whenever I see a parent out with their child, I
Bro.
start screaming at the top of my lungs and jumping all over the place. I am giving them future opportunities, and I feel like I am underappreciated for it.
You're right.
I remember a friend who said this. You can prepare as much you can until you have a child, but you can't wait until you're ready to have a child.
Yeah.
That's how you become a nanny instead of a mother.
I will agree. Like, I keep saying that you need to be 70% ready to have a kid. When I say ready, financially and mentally. Right? Because a lot of people, they're like, I'm not ready to have a child. There's a big difference between, like, ready mentally and not ready mentally. My mom was constantly fighting with everyone in my family and reminded me every day that she didn't trust me. You're already Listen, I'm so sorry y'all gone through that. When I was a kid, my parents did that too, okay? It's not about, like, better.
My mom was constantly
Not better or
fighting
worse.
with everyone in my family and reminded me every day that she didn't trust me. You're already a better mom than mine.
Trust me, I used to have anger issues. Both my parents had anger issues. They're better now, and I appreciate them for it. But back then, my dad had, like, he's the screaming, yelling type. My mom is the screaming, throwing type. So they fight a lot. So I've seen a lot, right? And I think the reason I think this way is because I had a younger brother. Because when I was younger, my parents were really busy, which makes sense. They want to, like, get money to make sure we're fine. Don't be sorry. I mean, it shaped me to who I was, and I really appreciate it. I had a younger brother, so I had to take care of my younger brother most of the time. And the reason I have this mentality is because of him. You know, most of the time, I'm like, I kind of stopped at a certain age. I stopped thinking about, like, oh, I feel bad
Thanks, Nivea.
kind of think about my brother instead.
504 for the 3
Ish.
resub.
So I'm kind of like, if something bad happens, I'm like, oh, let me make sure my brother's fine. Instead of like, oh, I feel a certain way. So now this is why I have this mentality. I'm not judging, right? Parenting is hard. Listen, you're doing amazing. If anyone in chat is a parent, listen, you are doing amazing. There is no such thing as a successful parent, okay? You are going to up. Everyone up. You're human. As long as you are trying your best, that's good enough. I'm not gonna be the parenting police here, but me personally, I want to be at least financially ready.